Episode 7, The Family That Ate the Republic. In 133 BC, Attalus III, the last king of Pergamon, dies and gives his entire kingdom to the Roman Republic in his will. No war, no negotiation, no conquest, a gift. This is the richest independent kingdom in Western Asia Minor. It includes the province of Asia, the cult headquarters of Cybele and Attis at Pessinus, the galley priesthood network, the second largest library in the ancient world, and the tax revenues of Western Turkey. Rome already imported the Cybele cult's sacred black meteorite from Pessinus with Attalid help in 204 BC. Now Rome owns the entire institutional back end. The cult infrastructure, the temple administration, and the treasury all transfer in a single document. Remember from last episode, the Attalid dynasty was founded by a eunuch named Philetaerus, a castrated man who could not produce biological heirs, ruling from the headquarters of the castrated god Attis, where galley priests performed annual self-castration in ritual commemoration of the founding myth. The institution and its founding act were identical. And now that institution has been willed to Rome like a piece of property. Because from the network's perspective, that is exactly what it was. Within one generation of this transfer, a family named Attius appears at Aricia in Italy. They have no documented parents, no documented homeland, no institutional record before Aricia. The genealogical trail begins and ends at this one town south of Rome. Aricia is not a random location. It is the cult center of Diana Nemorensis, a goddess whose priesthood operated through a ritual called the Rex Nemorensis. The priest of the grove held his office by killing his predecessor in single combat. A sacred grove, a ritual killing, a priest who earns his seat through blood. This is where the parentless ATT family sets up. The older Marcus Attius Balbus, the father, becomes the first Roman senator from this family. Before him there is nothing. No magistrates, no equestrians, no military record. Suetonius records that Mark Antony later mocked Augustus's ancestry by saying his great-grandfather was a freedman ropemaker from Thurii, and his grandfather a money changer. The imperial family's own political enemies could not trace the Atti back further than 2 generations, because there was nothing to trace. They materialized in Italy carrying an ATT root at the exact moment an ATT dynasty liquidated in Turkey. Marcus Attius Balbus the Younger is born around 105 BC. His name compounds 2 franchise roots. Attius, the ATT marker documented in Anatolia for over 1,000 years through Attis, Attalus, and the Attis lineage Herodotus traces from Lydia. And Balbus, the BL marker. Baal, Bel, Baltu. The same root running through every Levantine and Mesopotamian authority title since the Bronze Age. 2 roots. 1 man. No documented origin. His mother's name is Pompeia. She is the sister of Gnaeus Pompeius Strabo. That makes Attius Balbus and Pompey the Great first cousins. The ATT plus BL compound and the military enforcer are the same bloodline 1 generation up. This is not an alliance formed in the Senate. This is a family dividing labor from a single mother. One son's line handles administration and finance. The other son's line handles military operations. 2 tracks. 1 blood. Now the First Triumvirate. 3 men who run Rome as an unofficial board. Caesar claims Trojan descent through Aeneas. Trojan means Anatolian. The Julian family's own origin myth places them in Turkey before they are Roman. Pompey is the military enforcer, the man who will reorganize the entire eastern Mediterranean in a single campaign. And Marcus Licinius Crassus. Crassus. His family name Licinius carries the LKN root. Same as Luca, one of the documented sea peoples. Same as Lucumo, the Etruscan priestly title. Same as Lucania, the Anatolian-linked region in southern Italy. And the Colonimus dynasty would later live in Lucca, Italy when they officially morphed to that name on record. His cognomen Crassus carries the KRS root. Same as Croesus, the richest king in the ancient world, who ruled Lydia and Anatolia. Same as Chrysaor, the golden sword figure from Greek myth tied to Anatolian geography. Same as the Charaxi, a tribe documented in Colchis on the Black Sea. 2 Anatolian trade corridor routes in 1 name. And this man is the richest person in Rome. Strip the vowels and the KRS root runs deeper than geography. Chryses is the priest king of Apollo at Troy. His daughter is Chryseis. Their consonantal skeleton is KRSS, identical to Crassus. Chrysos, the Greek word for gold, has no agreed-upon Indo-European origin. Becus flags it as pre-Greek substrate. It was in Anatolia before the Greeks arrived. Kyrios, the Greek word for lord and master, is KRS. Christos, the Greek word for anointed one, is KRST. 3 words Greek grammarians treat as unrelated. Gold, lord, and anointed. The same consonantal root encoding wealth, authority, and sacred installation. Here is how he got rich. Plutarch says Crassus made his fortune by fire and war, making public calamities his greatest source of revenue. He bought 500 slaves, all architects and builders, and created Rome's first private fire brigade. When a building caught fire in Rome, and fires were nearly daily in a city of wooden tenements, Crassus showed up with his 500 men. They did not put out the fire. They stood there while Crassus negotiated to buy the burning property and every building next to it at panic prices. Owners watched their homes burn while Crassus made his offer. If the owner refused to sell, the brigade watched the building burn to the ground. Then Crassus bought the ashes for even less. He rebuilt with slave labor and rented the properties back to the same people he had extorted. Plutarch says he came to own the largest part of Rome this way. Real estate, mining, slave trafficking. The exact portfolio of a commercial franchise hub operator. This is the man standing next to Caesar and Pompey in the most powerful political arrangement in Republican history. And Cicero tells us something even more important about Caesar's position in this arrangement. In a speech addressed to Gaius Caesar, Cicero quotes the accusation that it was King Diodorus of Galatia who raised the Julian family from obscurity. The exact line, "Who ever heard of your father, or who he was, before they heard whose son-in-law he was?" Diodorus was the Celtic king of Galatia in central Turkey, who married into the Attalid royal line. Cicero is telling us that Caesar's family was nobody until Eastern royal networks elevated them. The man Rome treats as its greatest general was, by his enemy's own admission, a product of Anatolian patronage. This inverts the entire conventional narrative. Caesar did not conquer the East as a prestigious Roman. Eastern franchise networks elevated the Julian family into Roman prominence. And when Caesar crosses the Rubicon and takes power, he is not overthrowing the old order. He is completing a merger that began when the Attalids willed their kingdom to Rome and their personnel relocated to Italy. Now watch the marriages. Caesar's sister Julia Minor marries Marcus Attius Balbus. Not Caesar's daughter. His sister. The quiet entry point. The marriage that attracts less scrutiny than a match with the primary line but places the network's genetic material one step from the succession. Their daughter is named Atia Balba Caesonia. 3 franchise markers in one legal name. ATT from the Anatolian priestly corridor. BL from the Levantine temple authority system. Caesar from the Julian Trojan line. Her son is Octavian. Augustus, the first Roman emperor. At the same time, Pompey cements the triumvirate by marrying Caesar's daughter Julia in 59 BC. This is not romance. This is how franchise networks lock alliances. One generation of women placed into the right beds produces permanent institutional fusion. Pompey now holds the military track through marriage to the Julian primary line. Balbus already holds the administrative track through marriage to the Julian secondary line. 2 cousins. 2 tracks. One family absorbing Caesar's lineage from both directions simultaneously. And Caesar himself goes to Egypt and mates with Cleopatra VII. Cleopatra. CL root. Cleo means glory. Same root running through Cleomenes in Sparta, Callinicus in the Seleucid dynasty, Colonymus in the medieval Rhineland, Claudius in the Roman imperial succession. Patra means father, the CL franchise queen of the Ptolemaic dynasty. 2 products now emerge from this network. On the military track, Caesarion, son of Caesar and Cleopatra, Julian plus CL, the Roman-Egyptian hybrid. On the marriage track, Octavian, son of Atia Balba Caesonia, adopted by Caesar, Julian plus ATT plus BL, the Roman-Anatolian Levantine hybrid. 2 franchise mergers. 2 consolidation nodes, only one survives. In 30 BC, the same year Cleopatra dies, Augustus has Caesarion executed. He is 17 years old. The military track's product is eliminated. The CL franchise's Egyptian line is terminated. But the ATT plus BL line through Attius Balbus, the Julian line through Caesar's adoption of Octavian, and the Claudian line through Augustus's marriage to Livia all survive in one man. Augustus does not become emperor. He absorbs 4 franchise branches into a single office, and the pattern holds across every transition documented in this series. The military operatives are expendable. The administrative marriage operatives persist. And remember from last episode, the gens Claudia that Augustus marries into through Livia was founded by a Sabine named Attius Crassus, who migrated to Rome around 504 BC with 5,000 armed clients. Livy, Suetonius, and Dionysius of Halicarnassus all record this. Rome renamed him Appius Claudius, burying the ATT root while preserving the CL root. Attius became Appius. Crassus became Claudius. The ATT designation was erased from the record. The CL designation survived for 5 centuries of patrician power. So when Augustus marries Livia of the Claudian line, he is not just adding a prestigious Roman family to his portfolio. He is reconnecting with an ATT-rooted lineage that Rome had already renamed. Atia Balba on his mother's side, Claudia on his wife's side. Both ATT families. One kept the name. One had it taken. Then Augustus does something nobody connects to any of this. He creates the office of Archigallus, the state-supervised chief priest of Sibyl who does not have to be a eunuch. He is reformatting the ATT Attis cult from a castration priesthood into a Roman state administrative office. He is institutionalizing his mother's lineage claim. The Attalid gift did not just transfer territory to Rome, it transferred personnel. And the personnel's grandson is now running the empire and rewriting the cult's operating rules from the throne. Now rewind to what Pompey, Balbus's first cousin, does in 64 and 63 BC. 1 campaign, 3 operations. He ends the Seleucid Empire and organizes Syria as a Roman province. He enters the Holy of Holies in Jerusalem, the first non-Jew to penetrate the innermost room of the Second Temple, and installs Hyrcanus II as high priest and ethnarch. And at Emesa in Syria, he installs a man named Sampsiceramus as priest-king of the temple of Elagabalus. Sampsiceramus. Shamash has decided. An Arab solar priest named an Akkadian convention. Cicero mocked Pompey by calling him Sampsiceramus, because Romans could see that Pompey was operating as an Eastern Baal priest-king, not a Roman general. One man's cousin network now controls the Jerusalem temple and the Emesa Baal temple simultaneously, both priestly installations made by the same family in the same year. The Pompey Balbus network does not just conquer territory. It reorganizes religious administrative systems across the entire Eastern Mediterranean. This is the marriage web that builds an empire. The Attalids gift the cult infrastructure. The Attai appear with no parents to receive it in Italy. Balbus marries Caesar's sister. Pompey marries Caesar's daughter. Caesar mates with a Cleopatra. Crassus bankrolls the operation with fortune made from fire and human trafficking. Pompey installs priests at Jerusalem and Emesa. Diotarus, the Galatian king married to Attalid royalty, is accused of elevating the Julian family from nothing. The product of all of this is Augustus. And 250 years after Pompey's installation at Emesa, that same priestly dynasty produces a woman who marries a Roman emperor and puts the Julian name on a Syrian Baal priestess. But that is next episode. The Attalid bequest, the First Triumvirate, the fall of the Republic, and the birth of the Julio-Claudian dynasty are taught as 4 separate subjects in every university on Earth. They are one family operation across 2 generations, documented in the marriages, the finances, and the names.